In Romania, it is quite easy to recognize the bollards. They are made of concrete, of course, they're quite large, much larger than other territories in Europe, and they're quite easy to recognize due to their color, red on top and on the bottom, and quite reflective, made out of a reflective material. You will also find on them the number of the road that you are placed on, number 1 in this case, as well as the direction towards which you are going. And welcome back everybody to this new video. Today we're having a look at 25 tips for Google Maps on GeoGuessr. Things that are quite easy to recognize and usable by all people, including beginners. Number 2, welcome to France, where it is very easy to recognize the electric poles. Now, I'm especially talking here about the countryside, because the bigger the city, the less electric poles you will have, because everything is going to be in the soil, all the electric cables. But as you can see on the screen right now, you will be able to find this very small blue tag, which is kind of a reference tag for the electrical company, as well as sometimes the yellow one, which is another reference. I don't know exactly what it stands for, but this is quite unique in Europe, and this is very easily recognizable for France. And of course, Ghana has a unique feature, so more than its landscape and environment, there is something very easy to recognize on the car that you must know if you have been playing GeoGuessr for a while. The car has that very specific electric tape on the bars on top of the car. This is unique. It is only in Ghana and it is all around the country, okay? So if you see this tape, don't hesitate, just go for Ghana. Number 4, of course, we are here in Italy, or are we in Italy? Eh bien non. We are not in Italy, so something quite easy to recognize here in San Marino is, first of all, the camera quality. And also you will realize that we are quite high. Usually we're quite high when we are in San Marino, so my advice is, if you see Italian in a generation like this, which in my opinion is generation 2 or 3, and quite high in the sky, double check, triple check. There are a lot of places where you can find signs in San Marino that say San Marino, so you will be able to find something. If after moving around a lot you don't find anything that states San Marino, you're probably in Italy, but you need to make sure. One of the neighboring countries, of course, Switzerland. Switzerland has something quite unique. More than the height of the camera, that sometimes can be quite tricky to understand if we're in mountains or something like this. The yellow crosswalk. This is quite unique, of course, so if you feel like we are in a wintry environment, if you feel like the camera might be a little bit different than others, and if you see yellow crosswalk, go for Switzerland. Now, of course, for those of you who play GeoGuessr quite regularly, you will recognize Portugal, of course. Now, why is this easy to recognize? First of all, we have 2 strips of colors on the side, which is quite rare. It happens, but it's quite rare. And we have blue and yellow. So all the plates in Portugal have a strip of blue on the left and yellow on the right side. If you see this, you're in Portugal. Just like in Bhutan, you will see red plates. Now, we see more and more yellow plates in Bhutan as well. But if you see red plates like this, and if you feel like we are in an Asian environment, Asian landscape, we are in Bhutan. Now, of course, I will have to generalize for this one. If you see a person doing street view, so capturing all the images, but on a motorbike, there are very, very high chances that you are now in Vietnam. Now, of course, there are a lot of different motorbikes that they're using, a lot of different helmets, and supposedly a lot of different peoples as well. So it is quite hard to say exactly which city is where. Okay, there is one in Yen Bai, there's a different one in Hanoi, there are cars as well. But in Asia, so far, on a motorbike with a helmet of motorbike, it seems to be the only one in Vietnam. Just like in Greenland, you will have someone riding an ATV, you know, that kind of quad bike. That's quite unique over there. Okay, so all across the country, they have used different ATV with different people. I think there's a lady at some point as well. You need, of course, to try it out and see where you are, but whenever you see an ATV, most of the time you will be in Greenland. Moving on now to Ecuador. Ecuador, where here in the Galapagos, you will find something quite unique. which is, in my opinion, coming from a volcano, from the looks of it. It is quite unique. You will probably only find that there, because I don't think you will find that anywhere else in the world. At least it is not street viewed. Okay, so we are here in the Galapagos. You will also see that there are a lot of cacti, okay, and that there might be some boat rides as well. So it is quite unique over there, and it can be very tricky if you don't know it. So now you do. Moving back to Europe, in Hungary, you will find these usually squarey, slightly rectangular signs where you will see the number on the road you are on. This is quite useful, of course. Now, do not be mistaken with Poland. Of course, Poland has a very similar color, not the same kind of sign, but very similar color, and not the same font either. So you just need to be mindful of the language that they're using and take your time if you can. But this here, for example, is the E66 or 8, number 8 in Hungary. Now, of course, what would be a GeoGuessr tip video without talking about Italy? Of course, we talked about San Marino earlier. We are here in Italy. Italy has a very unique kind of plates, of course. Very similar to Portugal. We have blue on the left, but also blue on the right side. So I don't know exactly, I don't remember exactly. I will put it on the screen now. It is probably the region or something like this. Doesn't really matter. But at least for our purpose, on GeoGuessr using Google Maps, we have something very easy to recognize. Italy, it is the plates. Coming down to Brazil, you will see something quite unique. The back of the sign is completely black. You will see sometimes they cross, sometimes they will be made out of wood, of iron. It really doesn't matter. Okay, the back is black. That's Brazil. Of course, there's the language, there's a lot of other stuff, but that's a very easy target, especially in country streets. Back, Brazil. Talking about stuff that are easy to recognize here in Kenya. In Kenya, we have two types of cars. There is this one that is using some kind of, we believe that it's a mirror or maybe a light at the front of the car. We don't really know what it is. If you know, please let us know in the comments. They're using this. They will be also sometimes using the car that has bars on top, but there is no black tape, of course. And they will also be using another car that has a large air opening, a nozzle in front of the car. This basically allows for the engine to breathe from the top instead of from the bottom, and allows the car to go into water, basically. So some people believe that the small one that we saw first is more towards the east, the big one towards the center and west. I would not believe this. Okay, it really depends. I've seen pretty much everything so far. So if you see these two, don't worry, you are in Kenya, except if your nozzle looks like this and has much more stuff around, because here you're in Mongolia. But that's a completely different country. So be careful, of course. If you see a nozzle, it does not necessarily just means that it is in Kenya. It can also be in Mongolia. However, the landscape should be quite easy to recognize. Plus, when we have this nozzle on the Mongolia car, we usually have the whole package on top here. So it is usually quite easy to recognize. But be mindful. Now, if you are smoking, I'm not judging. Of course, please do not smoke if you can, if you can avoid it. I've been a smoker for a long time, so I know what it is. But if you see ads for cigarettes, it is mainly two countries, Indonesia or the Philippines. It is quite common over there to advertise for cigarettes, to really show it to the world outside on even the smallest shop that you could find outside, okay? The main difference is that here we are in RP, rupiahs, and in the Philippines we're going to be in the P, which is the Philippine money, the Philippine currency. Staying in Asia, if you find vending machines, there is a very high chance you're in Japan. Now, of course, I'm generalizing here, but it is a fact that there are a lot of vending machines working. Those ones are not, but working vending machines that are in the streets of Japan and ready to use for anyone who's passing by. Coming back to GeoGuessr tips that are easy and that everyone knows, those signs are unique. You will find them only in Vienna, only in Austria, indeed. Einbahn, which is a direction here, is quite common across the whole country. But if you see this dark blue with white letters, this is in Vienna, Austria. They are numbered according to a certain pattern in the city. I'm not gonna go too much in details, but you can look it up online, and that will help you to know exactly where you are. Very close to Austria, but not so much. In Ireland, I know it's not close at all. In Ireland, the signs have two languages. So usually you will see the Irish language on top in italic, and then you will have the English language at the bottom, usually in normal, maybe sometimes capital letters, okay, it depends. But when you see those two languages paired with the driving on the left side, paired with, for example, the white plate at the back of the car instead of the yellow plate compared to the UK, you know that you are in Ireland. Just like a road like this should scream at you, this is Sweden. Of course, when we have these very small dashes, approximately 50 centimeters each on the side of the road, this is Sweden. Now we need to be careful, of course. There are very similar patterns across Europe, of course, but paired to a Scandinavian landscape, paired to sometimes the language, you will be able to recognize here Sweden. In Ukraine, you will find something unique. They have been using a red car. So I don't know exactly how red it is, but at least from our perspective, the player, we see it red. Sometimes it might appear as kind of a pinkish overlay if it is blurry like this, but move around and you will see at some point that the red back or front of the car will show itself. When you see Cyrillic language, when you see this kind of green environment, quite Russian environment, but not Russian at all, you know you are in Ukraine. And last but not least, Denmark. Denmark, of course, we have very unique signs in Denmark, so they are usually quite long, red, okay, red outline on the side and white background. You will have blue ones as well, quite the same pattern. They're very, very easy to recognize, okay? When you see this kind of sign, you know you're in Denmark. They're quite unique. And this concludes our little video. So there was approximately 20-25 little tips here that are essentially very useful for country streets, okay? We can make more videos in the future, of course, about regions, about specific cities as well. Don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. Don't hesitate to subscribe as well, leave a like and share the video. And on my side, I will see you very soon for another one. Bye-bye.